Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be changing the E string on my electric violin. I actually really like this instrument, but I'm still trying to find the best strings to go on it. And I'm using Prims, regular tension Prims for the G, D, and the A string, but I've been having sort of a whistling string problem on the E string, so I'm trying some different things. Right now I have a Kaplan, a D'Addario Kaplan on here, and I really don't like this string at all. I gave it a tune-up this morning, and here's what I have. If my tuner will work. My tuner doesn't seem to be wanting to work right now. It's just giving me a blank, so. But earlier it was reading, that's G, and then close to D, A, and I'm actually plucking the E string here. That's supposed to be E. It's supposed to be a fifth higher. And this is really happening a lot with this Kaplan string. And the D'Addario Kaplan is supposed to be this non-whistling string, and that's fine. It's worked well enough, but the tension is out of this world. There's a lot of tension on this string, and even when it's tuned to pitch, it rarely holds its pitch for more than maybe 2 songs, which just is unacceptable for a steel E string. For gut strings, you would sort of expect that sort of thing, but E strings just should not be that temperamental. And also, I'm going to show you here on the bridge, these 2 lines here on the wood of the body are really a good indicator. If you look at the feet of the bridge here, you'll see that the bridge has shifted over to the left, to the bass side. And that is because of the E string. The E string has put so much pressure down this way. You see, it's not straight down. It sort of comes at an angle. And it has shifted the bridge over. So where those feet are not aligned the same place. You see where I should be able to shift it over there where the feet are sort of evenly interspersed. The bridge is even over these two lines, but that E string has shifted the bridge over to the left. So not only is it not staying in tune, but this E string pushes the bridge and throws everything else out of tune. So this string just does not get along well with the rest of the strings. Now your mileage may vary, but for my purposes, and these are normal tension strings. These aren't high tension, they're not low tension, they're medium tension strings. And so I would expect an off-the-shelf standard E string to work well, but yeah, the tension on this E string is just too far out of this world. It is way overmatches any counter pressure that the G string or the D string may exert on the bridge. So it just puts too much pressure on the bridge. And like I said, it doesn't stay in tune. So with those 2 factors, it's just not a good string for this violin. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take this off, and just nice and easy there. So much for the D'Addario Kaplan string. And I'll put this in my violin case with all of my other spare E strings. I usually label all my strings so that I know what I'm getting. If I break a string, I have plenty in reserve. And honestly, there's another thing with this E string right about here. There's a lot of corrosion on there, a lot more than I would expect. I haven't been using this E string all that much, so it just is not a good fit for me. So I'm gonna put this over here, out of the shot. So I have a couple of other E strings, and the one I'm really excited about trying is this Warchal Amber E string. Now this thing is also guaranteed. I read a post from the owner of this company who said, I guarantee that if you play right, there's that caveat, if you play right, if you play correctly with proper technique, this string will not whistle. It has been technologically designed not to whistle. That's that sort of false note you get when you don't hit the E string right, or just when you have a temperamental E string that just doesn't get along with you. So wait till you see this. Okay. Look at that. You've got this sort of spring thing going on here, and that is going to go right over the bridge. That's going to be really interesting, and that's why I'm making this video, actually. I thought about just putting it on and not telling anybody, but I really wanted to make a video where I show the installation of this and just show off the string itself. You see that that spring is going to straddle the bridge, and it does have the sleeve. I don't know if you can see that. The sleeve there that will go in the notch of the bridge so that the E string doesn't cut through that maple wood there. So yeah, I think this is going to be really interesting to see. So yeah, I'm gonna load it into the peg. A couple of turns around that way, and then we come back around to the treble side. Okay, and you see it's already catching, so this is really interesting. Really interesting. I'm trying to lift it up to even the pressure across there. Now let's see if my tuner is going to work now. It could just need a battery. Oop. All right, there we go. And since I took the old E string off, there's a lot less tension, so the other strings have gone a little bit flat. So we're going to have to tune everything back up. So this is going to be really interesting as I stretch that. And this is really stretching the string. So I guess I'm going to finally just take those kinks out. Really interesting. This is fascinating to me. So I guess eventually we're going to have most of that spring area where the bow crosses and touches the string. Really interesting. I could go ahead and slip that sleeve over. I think that'll also help keep the kinks from catching on the notch. All right, we're at A. We need to get up. C sharp. D sharp. Oh, we just went back down to A. All right, now we're a little high, so let's... That's a really interesting sound, too. Very glassy. It's not a brittle, glassy sound, though. Almost like a harp. Now we're starting to lose some intonation as the string stretches, so... Gonna sort of pull the string just a little bit, pull it up. There. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to loosen that fine tuner. We're going to lose some pitch. I'm going to bring up the peg just a bit. Ah, there we go. Perfect. All right, so... I'll say something about fine tuners. As I am using all steel strings on this instrument, each string needs a fine tuner. Some amongst the violin intelligentsia look down their noses at people who use fine tuners on everything but their E string. All E strings are steel, so steel strings need a fine tuner. All E strings are steel, therefore all E strings have a fine tuner. Violin players typically use like a gut or gut synthetic, which is really notoriously bad for, they don't hold their intonation well at all. Which is why I use steel strings. I just don't want to monkey around with tuning all the time. Plus, steel strings are easier to get along with different climate changes. And here in the mountains of Virginia, the climate changes a lot. From day to day, from hour to hour. So, steel strings are really the way to go for me. And I'm a fiddle player, not a violinist, so... So, steel strings need fine tuners. Anybody who looks down their noses at people who use fine tuners on all their strings just doesn't really know what they're talking about. If you're hearing a bit of distortion, it's because this instrument is making contact with this table, and that's creating some rattle. It's actually rattling the wood here. Now, it is a little bit of a break-in, so I can feel just a little bit of that that springiness there. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little bit of that wave pattern from that spring. So I'm really interested to try this violin with this E string. I've been putting this off just because I wanted to give that D'Addario Kaplan string a fair shake, but trying to tune it up this morning, I said, that's enough. So there it is. The Warchal Amber Violin E string. So yeah, we'll see how that sounds.